Hey, this is Portia the Property Girl. Here to talk about a subject that's a little uncomfortable. We're going to talk about when your tenant is not paying rent. Of course, we covered a little bit of this in the other videos, but today we're going to go into a little bit more of how you can actually avoid this to begin with and what to do if you actually have this type of situation going on. So let's start off by actually talking about what are some of the impacts of tenant not paying rent. It's important to, first of all, minimize the time in which you have to deal with the impact of not having your tenant paying rent. So, learning how to properly evict your tenant can be a little bit difficult because there are some laws that actually govern this. So, one mistake can actually set you back. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, first of all, how to avoid this process by proper screening and communication. We're going to also talk a little bit about paying attention to some of the red flags in the beginning. We did cover a little bit of that earlier, but we're going to go ahead and expound on that a little bit more today. We're also going to be talking about the importance of being consistent, fair, and fast. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about some of the ways that you can actually avoid having to deal with eviction in the first place. At RPM Executives, we have not had to evict anyone in 3 to 4 years that we've actually placed tenants. So that's because we take every single step to actually ensure that you have the best tenant match possible. So one thing we do is we screen carefully and we keep you in contact with tenants that definitely understand the lease and the expectations that are in place for them. We also are very responsive in dealing with any issues that are in need of repair. So this is also very important because sometimes these are the things that actually cause tenants to not want to pay their rent on time. You also have a situation where good tenants won't want to they won't want to be evicted. So it's knowing how to screen them in the first place that will actually get you a good tenant. So secondly, you want to really pay attention to red flags in the beginning. Oftentimes they're right there in your face, but that's why we're here, because we help you see those red flags so that we won't have a situation in the first place. So during the screening process, if you uncover any past evictions, or the landlord tells you that they were late on their payments a few times, those are red flags, my friends. So tenants who cannot document or verify their income can be a huge risk. And you don't want to rent to anyone who cannot pay the security deposit. Now, that is the first indicator that we're going to have a challenge in the first place. So these are definitely red flags that you want to be aware of in the first process, the first part of the process. And if they've had any situations with avoiding your calls or not returning your phone calls or messages, it's because of the sticky little thing of not being alert when it comes to the red flags you had in the first place. So also, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning. You want to be fair and consistent and fast. You cannot afford the luxury of waiting for a long period of time to get that tenant out, and you cannot afford the luxury of not having a good paying tenant in. So you want to be consistent, fair, and fast. It's understandable to try to work with the tenant when the tenant is late, especially if you have had them as good renters. But here's the thing. Normally, you should actually take the steps to get the eviction process started, because if you don't and the tenant does not come up with some satisfactory payment arrangements, then that is possible money lost. So you don't want to deal with the pain of that, because remember, this is your property and you want to get a good return on investment. So again, that was 3 tips that can help you in making sure that you don't have to deal with the pain of evicting a tenant. And we are here at Real Property Management to help empower property owners. So if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, we are here to help. And I want to invite you to give us a call today. Thank you. It's Portia the Property Girl, and I'm giving you advice on how to avoid eviction. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.